In this video, we'll talk a little bit more about what actually happens when someone actually gets to the site. We already talked about the reason why we want to capture just about two or three pieces of information when they get to the site. Again, one, we want to answer the big question. What are they there for? They're there for money. So we want to ask them, how much money do you want? Later on, we'll ask them about credit card and all that stuff. But in the meantime, the first thing we want to ask them is how much money do you want? The second thing is what's your email address? That way we can communicate with them. And usually the third thing is probably just a first name, nothing too committal, okay? And that's totally different from asking them, name a company and all that stuff and how long you've been in business and yada yada yada. These are all important, yes, but we'll get them answered later. So once they fill out that form, here's what happens. They go ahead and get a confirmation email. Now, sometimes when they get the confirmation email, one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to fill it out. This is where we ask them, the rest of the information. How long you've been in business? Do you accept Visa credit cards and MasterCard and all that stuff? How much volume do you do, per month? Later on, we're going to ask them all that question. But sometimes they don't fill it out. Sometimes they just go ahead and abandon the email. So we want to go ahead and have some kind of series going on where if they abandon the email, we can go ahead and say 3 days later or something like that. Maybe they forgot. Maybe their line disconnected. Maybe for whatever reason they got busy or whatever. So we, send them a quick reminder. The basic objective is that we want to get them back. We want to get them back to filling out this form here. Okay, so we'll probably put like a link back to this so they can fill it out, or maybe go ahead and put it at the bottom of the reminder email. All right. So once that series basically starts, we can keep talking to them forever, if you may, until they come back and fill out that form. We want to, make sure that they fill out this lead capture form. Now, what's the next thing that happens? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, inside the form, we always want to have a phone number. Now, these are trackable phone numbers so that we know exactly at what point that they actually call the office. Okay, and that's totally different from getting to the website and actually calling the office. So we want to make sure that we know exactly where we're getting them to convert. The next thing that happens is a phone call. What happens if, instead of filling out this form, they decide to make a phone call? Once they call, two things happens. It comes as a direct lead to the sales office. So, your sales guy at Accredited Merchant Capital would get a lead. At the same time, typically most people, when they're doing calls these days, they're calling from their mobile phones, and this is where our SMS platform kicks in. Now, once they go ahead and call, automatically they get a text message, and this is not, we're not trying to get them slammed with all kinds of text messages or anything like that. They can always opt out of it at any time. So all they've got to do is actually just, type in stop, and the whole thing basically, ends. But let's say, for example, they talk to the sales guy and he couldn't get them to convert. They talk for about 20 seconds or so, and they're pretty much done. We don't want to stop communicating with this guy because we've invested so much to get that prospect. So the next thing we want to do is send him a text message. Very subtle message. Nothing. We're not trying to sell him anything at all. So we send him something like, "Hey, thanks for trying to contact us, whatever," and include a phone number. Again, this is a trackable phone number here. This is not. This phone number is not going to have any other responders to it per se. But we want to go ahead and send them this text message, basically trying to convert them again. We're trying to get them to come back to this point here. So just a simple thank you for contacting us and things like that. Now, let's say 3 days later, 4 or 5 days later, they don't contact us. We'll go ahead and send them a tip. Like, this is the end of the year, for example. Okay, we'll send them, a tip saying something along the lines of, did you know that these expenses are tax deductible, something like that. And then we can help you out, not so much with your tax deductible but expenses, but more so we want to stay basically on their minds. So we go ahead and include another phone, another phone number again to track where we're getting them to convert. Okay, or maybe we could put a click there or something like that. Basically, we want them to call or come back and fill out this lead capture form. Let's go back to this. Now, if after say about a couple weeks or so, maybe a week or so, they haven't responded back, the next thing we want to do is this is where we go in and try to sell them again. Basically, we want to ask them, hey, listen, you know what? Maybe last time the money you were asking for wasn't so much, couldn't meet your needs. How much more money do you want? Do you want $50,000, $75,000, $100,000? And then put in our phone number. Again, we want to get them back to over here talking to our sales guys. Okay, want to get them here or filling out a form. And usually what happens is that once they see, oh gosh, I possibly make it more money. Now this is not qualifying anything like that. We just want to do some more follow-ups with them, because sometimes people just take forever to decide. But money is usually a good motivator to get them to come back to us. So our system, our SMS system, is almost set it up to be a set it and forget it. We set up a series. Usually people do this with email, but we're doing it with text. And again, they can always opt out of it, so there are no worries there. But we want to stay in touch with them. We want to continue talking to them over a period of 30 days, 60 days, 9 months, whatever it takes, and until they stop, okay, or until they come back. So that's basically the gist of what we plan to do for lead generation. Now we'll go into tools and see exactly how we plan to execute. Now, how we plan to execute, usually we start with some research. We look at what you've already been doing, okay? We use some free tools and some paid tools, and then many tools we use are actually proprietary. We actually develop them. All right, so let's look at what you've done so far. Based on what it looks like here, you did some advertising, let's say February. You did some PPC February of 2012. February 9th, position number 1 on the keyword unsecured loan. And on March, basically just skipped the rest of February, just sporadically did some advertising here. It's not really much, but it looks like in August you did a little bit more advertising on the 15th, on the 16th, and let's look at how much, what actual ads you actually ran. You came third out of 22 on the keyword no credit loan. Okay, on this you came sixth, and this day on the keyword unsecured loan you came in number 1. What ad did you run? See, you ran this ad here. Okay, this ad came in number 1 on March 12th. This ad here came in number 6. All right, and on May 12th, you ran this ad, and this ad here came in position number 3. Now, so what we do is we look at, okay, what's getting you this fluctuation? Part of it is because there's no consistency here. I hate to bust your bubble, but a lot of times when you're a little bit more consistent, you're able to actually see and do some good research. So let's look at this ad. This ad actually came in position number 3 on August 12th, and that was on the keyword no credit loan. Now let's take a look at bad loans, bad credit. That one came in number 5 out of 22. What ad was that? It was the same ad on a different keyword. All right. Now let's look at what your competitors are doing and exactly how we do a hybrid. Remember what we talked about earlier here when we said looked at the lead here. We talked about how we get research and know exactly what to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what we do. Okay, hang on one second. Actually, better yet, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here, and then we'll go into a third video. The third video is actually the last video, so hang in with me.